You know who sat down with Tucker Carlson last night, where he gave an update on his claims of being spied on by President Obama. Take a look.
When I say wiretap, those words were in quotes. That really covers, because wiretapping is pretty old-fashioned stuff, but that really covers surveillance and many other things. And nobody ever talks about the fact that it was in quotes, but that's a very important thing. But wiretap covers a lot of different things. I think you're going to find some very interesting items coming to the forefront over the next 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Every day is a nightmare with this guy.
I will just point this out. You know, when they redid Trump Tower, right?
Yeah.
When they put all the you know, the stuff in that keeps stuff from exploring through the windows, one would think when they retrofitted the building, if there were wiretaps in there or any kind of surveillance in there, they might have mentioned it earlier. But now, you know, he said it in air quotes. He said he did it in quotes, but that's not really what he was saying. He was accusing President Obama of wiretapping.
But he also said he was a bad guy.
Yeah, he said all kinds of stuff.
But also, he didn't use quotes in every tweet. So he used quotes in one. And Tucker Carlson, if you want to be called a journalist, you should have called him on that. But he did not, of course.
But the thing is,
a bunch of toadies
he talked about
there.
wiretapping, and now he's saying, well, I'm actually talking about a broader thing. My definition of wiretapping is to surveil your phone.
Can you bring that back up? I want to point something out. When he says this is Nixon Watergate, he's talking about wiretapping.
Yeah, and
he's not talking about, you know, what's happening in your microwave.
No, and the tweet above says tapping my phone. He said in the tweet above, tapping my phone.
It says,
I mean, that's what he said.
Now, we're still waiting for the evidence that anything like that happened. Waiting for the evidence about these 3 million voters who voted illegally for Hillary.
Right.
Okay, his new slogan should be, let's make America wait again. Because we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting for the evidence that he has none of. That's right.
This may come as some surprise to the current occupant of the Oval Office, but the President of the United States does not have the authority to unilaterally order the wiretapping of an American citizen.
As far as wiretapping, I guess, by, you know, this past administration, at least we have something in common, perhaps.
The president is apparently standing by his claim that the White House ordered wiretapping of Trump Tower under President Obama.
Behind this idea that there was wiretapping, and why would Sean Spicer assert without evidence?
Fox News cannot confirm Judge Napolitano's commentary. Fox News knows of no evidence of any kind that the now President of the United States was surveilled at any time in any way, full stop.
Anderson, I can only say I have really no idea what caused President Trump to assert that his predecessor was engaged in that kind of criminality. It seems completely divorced from reality, so I have really...
About this explosive and evidence-free charge that President Trump has put forward.
It seems completely divorced from reality, so I have really no idea where this came from, and I have no idea, Jake, what he's talking about. I can't go into the particulars of the investigation, but the whole idea that President Obama ordered him to be wiretapped illegally is just preposterous.
To remove the mystery here and explain to you and your viewers why it is false to say that President Obama ordered a wiretap of Trump Tower.
I think this is complete nonsense, and you know, it just, again, further undermines the credibility of the President of the United States, and I think subjects us to ridicule around the world at a time when the idea of liberal democracy is already under attack.
But tonight, we know the President of the United States has no facts to back up his startling allegation that the former President of the United States, President Obama, wiretapped him in Trump Tower during the campaign.
Wiretaps on President Trump.
No, I don't.
Okay. Today,
former colleague tweeted, "I'd be careful about reporting that Obama said there was no wiretapping. Statement just said that neither he nor the White House ordered it." Can you categorically deny that the Obama Justice Department did not seek and obtain a FISA court-ordered?
What I can categorically deny, Martha, is that the White House was at all involved in directing or interfering or influencing an FBI investigation of any
That's not
sort.
what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, can you deny that the Obama Justice Department did not seek and obtain a FISA court-ordered wiretap of the Trump campaign?
It was a cardinal rule. Here's the simple answer to that question is, Martha, I don't know. And it's not because I'm no longer in government. The fact is, even when I was in government, I was not in a position of being regularly briefed on an FBI criminal or counterintelligence investigation.
Members of the Senate Intelligence Committee say they've seen no evidence that President Obama ordered Donald Trump's phones tapped during the campaign.
To say, first, no president can order a wiretap. Those restrictions were put in place to protect citizens from people like you.
We know the president has no facts to back up his early morning Saturday tweet storm.
Used the line, "Be careful what you ask for." What do you believe this could yield?
Well, here's what I mean by that. I think what Sean Spicer and the president wanted was to take this spurious claim and try to bury it in a closed hearing in the Intelligence Committee. We're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to air this very publicly. And if the president is going to make outlandish claims like this in the future, he needs to know he will be exposed. And high-ranking people within the U.S. government, like the director of our intelligence agencies and the FBI, will be forced to say the president wasn't telling the truth.
And they not only still can't get Trump to let it die, but Trump tried to draw the German chancellor into supporting his paranoid delusion at a news conference, and she looked at him like he was a dick.
This allegation about wiretapping that has no bit of evidence to support it.
This is no longer merely about Trump's substandard and dysfunctional mental, psychiatric, or intellectual status. This is now, most urgently, about his unadulterated and unceasing incompetence.
It raises concerns about trust in the president, because there are one or two conclusions you draw. One is that he says these things knowing that they're not true, in order to divert the public. And if he's doing that, he's misusing the powers of the presidency. Or he truly believes that they are true when indeed they're not true, and he hasn't tried to find out the truth, which then shows a real lack of judgment. Either way, I think it undermines and weakens the strength of the presidency in this country.
Today you tweeted this, quote, "We must accept possibility that POTUS does not know fact from fiction, right from wrong. The wild claims are not strategic, but worse." What do you mean? You actually think that there is something wrong with his capacity? He can't tell what's true and what's not true?
Well, I think we have to admit the possibility now that this is not just, you know, as you know, scholars would say, you know, one of two possibilities in terms of an actual wiretap. I think neither of those possibilities is likely to be true. Then you have the idea that many have put forward that he's very cleverly, strategically trying to distract us. That's possible, but it's also possible that he can't tell the difference between a Breitbart story and reality. That's, I think, the most frightening prospect of all. But at this point, you have to ask, is it possible he really believes millions of people who came here undocumented voted in the election? Does he really believe that Obama wiretapped Trump Tower? If he does, then we have a much more serious problem than we have yet acknowledged.
I'm going to go with Congressman Swalwell first, because I just want to clear up for people who may not know. Do presidents themselves order wiretapping?
No, actually protections were put in place to keep just exactly what Donald Trump would want to do, which would probably be have the authority to order wiretapping. So, no, this comes from the Department of Justice. They work with the FBI, and it is signed off by a judge. And typically a president wouldn't even be read in until the investigation was complete. And so this looks like a diversionary tactic, more Trump-Russia ties followed by Trump-Russia lies.
And Congressman, you know, you're a congressman. You know that information because I presume when you came into Congress, you didn't know everything about the way the government runs, but you availed yourself of information to find out.
I asked questions of people, of the experts.
Does it disturb you a little bit that the President of the United States doesn't know that the President of the United States doesn't order wiretaps?
It bothers me, but I'm not surprised that 30 minutes later he was tweeting about The Apprentice.
He did.
Joining me now is Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein. She serves on the Intelligence Committee. Thank you so much for joining us, Senator.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. So, you're on the Intelligence Committee. Have you seen any evidence that President Obama tapped Donald Trump's phone?
No, I have not. And it's all rather shocking to me that a sitting president would make this kind of an allegation about a former president without any proof whatsoever. And as you know, the Obama White House people and the Obama people have responded and said that it was absolutely false.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York joined a growing list of Democrats calling for Sessions to resign. Then on Friday afternoon, President Trump responded by tweeting this 2003 photo of Senator Schumer with Vladimir Putin and called Schumer a total hypocrite. And on that note, Senator Schumer joins me now. So, Senator, you tweeted good morning to you, sir, to finish up this little tweet back and forth, and there's so many tweets to keep up with. You responded back, happily talk, read my contact with Mr. Putin and his associates, took place in '03 in full view of press and public under oath. Would you and your team, obviously that's you challenging them under oath. Let me ask you this. This morning, the president's press secretary came out and said the following: reports concerning potentially politically motivated investigations immediately ahead of the 2016 election are very troubling. President Trump is requesting that as part of their investigation into Russian activity, the Congressional Intelligence Committees exercise their oversight authority to determine whether executive branch investigative powers were abused in 2016. Is that a fair ask of this administration?
Well, look, President Obama has flatly denied that he has done this. And either way, Chuck, the president's in trouble if he falsely spread this kind of misinformation. That is so wrong. It's beneath the dignity of the presidency. It is something that really hurts people's view of government. It's civilization warping, as Ben Sass, a conservative Republican, called it. And I don't know if any president, Democrat or Republican in the past, has done this. It shows this president doesn't know how to conduct himself. On the other hand, if it's true, it's even worse for the president, because that means that a federal judge, independently elected, has found probable cause that the president or people on his staff have had probable cause to have broken the law or to have interacted with a foreign agent. Now, that's serious stuff. So either way, the president makes it worse with these tweets. Now, is he trying to divert things here? Yeah.
In the last few weeks, the president has told his military that there are terrorist attacks no one knows about because the press covers them up. He's described the news media as the enemy of the American people. He has likened his own intelligence agencies to Nazis. And now we have the wiretapping charge against President Obama. Is it appropriate to ask whether the president is having difficulty with rationality?
They have a Republican member of that committee and the Republican deputy majority whip both insisting Trump owes Barack Obama an apology for Trump's wiretap hoax story.
We know the Russians have also used a variety of techniques in Europe in the same way they have here. And in Europe, they have used native citizens of European countries. They've used blackmail. They've used extortion. We want to find out what else did they do, if anything, in the United States to influence our elections. And what we need to do is a expeditious, but
this is about the realization by his opponents and by his supporters, a realization seemingly growing geometrically every single day, that the worst case Trump scenario is going to be the standard operating procedure until we remove this incompetent and unstable individual from office and rush to save this nation while there is still a chance to do so. Resist. Peace.
less than the span of 5 days, the American public has known that the Congress has created a monster. The monster is the deep state, the spies among us who are always there and always spying and always listening, no matter which party is in power and no matter which party is in the White House. We learned when the enaction of the FISA statute in 1978 that the President of the United States of America can order surveillance on any person in the United States without suspicion, without probable cause, and without a warrant, because Congress gave him the power to do so. President of the United States of America can order surveillance on any person in the United States without suspicion, without probable cause, and without a warrant. Welcome to my chambers. When Donald Trump complained that he was being surveilled, he used the word wiretap, by the administration of President Barack Obama, most people in Washington and in the media laughed at him. Nobody took seriously the claim that a sitting president of the United States would be listening to the conversations of a candidate to replace him and ultimately the president-elect to replace him. We now know that President Trump's complaint and claims were true. We know this because President Obama's National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, has acknowledged that she sought and obtained from the National Security Agency, that's America's 60,000-person strong domestic spy force, the people that capture digitally every telephone communication and every keystroke on every computer used by any person in the United States and have been doing it since 2005. Ms. Rice obtained from them transcripts of conversations involving candidate Trump, President-elect Trump, and his colleagues in Trump Tower in New York City. Of what conceivable national security purpose could those transcripts have been? We don't know exactly what transcripts she obtained, and we don't know why she obtained them. But we do know she obtained them, which demonstrates the truthfulness of Donald Trump's claim that Barack Obama was wiretapping him. Of course, it's not done by wiretapping today. It's done by the downloading of computer data by the National Security Agency. What they call the use of intelligence data for political purposes. Accelerate. Welcome to my
hasn't been picked up anyplace else. It was first covered by Circa News, in which the FISA court is harshly rebuking the Obama administration for essentially illegal searches on thousands of Americans. And Obama administration, legal searches, thousands of Americans, and thousands of Americans. And there's not a lot of outrage.
It's astounding that there's not a lot of outrage. It's astounding that you have covered it more than the networks combined, and I don't understand that. But I do understand that the FISA court has had an end run around it by NSA. That NSA has been doing massive amount of spying, surveilling, capturing every keystroke on every iPhone and every desktop and every phone call and all fiber optic cable in the United States that they can without telling the FISA court about it. And the vast majority of it, involving tens of millions of Americans, maybe even hundreds of millions of Americans, is a profound violation of the Fourth Amendment.